The residents of this small town don't work. They simply enjoy themselves every day. The town not only provides free housing, but also assigns partners to the residents. There are only 2 rules here. First, love is allowed but marriage is not. Second, one must not leave the town by crossing the fence. Initially, Peter didn't believe it. With my look, could I also be assigned a partner? To his surprise, he was matched with the most beautiful girl in town, May. May was initially quite disdainful of Peter because all he knew how to do was eat. May would often kick him, but Peter didn't mind at all. Gradually, May also discovered Peter's strengths, namely his boundless energy, which is every man's dream. May secretly enjoys Peter every day, but even so, she still cheats on Peter very often. With the arrival of the male protagonist, Tai, this peculiar town is about to change. This small town assigns girlfriends. Tai is a loser, in debt and cornered by his creditors in an alley, where he gets beaten up. At that moment, a mysterious person in yellow rushes out from behind and knocks out the creditor with a metal bar. The person in yellow tells Tai that he can take him to a place where he won't have to worry about food, clothing, or housing. Tai, deceived, signs an agreement and is taken onto a bus, where he falls asleep. When he wakes up, he's already at the entrance to the small town. They queue up to enter the town, and the initiation ceremony is simple. A chip is implanted in their necks. On his first day, Tai is assigned a house. The room is very clean, and Tai finds a stack of cards with room numbers written on them. Tai's room is number 139, and he doesn't know the purpose of these cards. Tai goes to the swimming pool and has just changed his clothes. When a hot girl approaches, the girl is really forward, asking the guy to spend the night with her. Tai quickly pulls his clothes and leans against the wall, not daring to move. The girl, with a shy face, hands him a card and leaves. Tai, puzzled, goes to the pool and sees May playing a whack-a-mole game using men, having a great time. When May sees Tai, she quickly comes over and they start chatting. At that moment, 2 or 3 men come over and give May cards, which she reluctantly accepts. Tai asks what the cards mean. May tells Tai that the cards are a special way of greeting here. It's an invitation to spend the night in the appropriate room on the card and do as they please. Tai is stunned, thinking there couldn't be such a thing, and he has also received a card. At that moment, another girl comes and gives Tai a card. May laughs, saying, "It seems you have quite a bit of romantic luck." The magical town assigns partners to everyone. Tai, with doubts, comes to the girl's room. He knocks on the door carefully. The girl, without saying a word, pulls him inside. Tai finally experiences the happiness of the small town. Tai eats the snacks in his room every day and is always very hungry. May teases Tai for being silly because there is a lot of delicious food in the canteen. Tai goes to the canteen, where the way of eating is very special. Each workstation has a large mobile phone, and as long as you follow the requirements and swipe likes for the merchants, you can unlock the food in front of you. Of course, sometimes they also swipe negative reviews. So it turns out, this is where the online propaganda team comes from. Tai doesn't know how to do it, but Peter, who is next to him, teaches him. Suddenly, a man with a mustache comes to the canteen and gives a card to every girl he sees, but the girls here all despise him. In this small town, not only are girlfriends assigned, but residents also receive new clothes. However, in exchange, they are required to participate in drug testing for a pharmaceutical company. There is a 3% side effect rate of the drugs, but everyone seems to not care. May just drinks the medicine and falls on the table, scaring everyone. It turns out that May was just teasing everyone. However, at that moment, a girl with a drug allergy is carried out and dies. A few days later, May takes Tai to work here. The person in yellow clothing takes them to the city by bus, where each person is given a temporary new identity to vote for the mayor. No one cares who they are voting for. Sometimes they also hit up some popular stores to up their game. Peter's just all about grubbing, which ticks May off big time. Tai saw a chance to stir up some drama, slipped May a card, trying to snake on Peter. May wasn't having it, chucked the card to the floor, and Tai felt kinda awkward. Right then, this bespectacled lady swoops in, slides Tai a card, and Tai reluctantly swaps cards with her. Later that night, like clockwork, the bespectacled lady shows up, claiming she's a killer. Tai's freaking out like a deer in headlights, had nightmares the whole damn night. There are 2 rules in this magical town. First, one can only date, not marry. Second, one must not cross the fence and leave the town. One day, Mustache suggests playing a daring game to see who can go the farthest after climbing over the fence. May thinks it's fun. She takes Tai and Peter with her. They arrive at the fence, which is very low and not electrified. There's not even a guard. Mustache takes the lead and climbs over. How easy it is. Then Tai and Peter also climb over. May, however, does not move. Ty and Peter start to walk away, and after about 656 feet, a piercing, sharp sound begins. Ty covers his ears, but the sound gets louder, accompanied by a severe headache. They quickly run back to the fence, and the sharp sound immediately disappears. The source of the sound is the chip that was implanted in them when they came here. The person in yellow has a shield, and as long as they do not exceed a certain range, the chip will not make noise. That day, they receive another work task. The task is to play dead. The person in yellow gives each of them a box of blood plasma, and has them change into blood-stained clothes, disguised as survivors after a terrorist attack. This time, they even make the social news. Ty and the others complete their work, and return to the small town. However, a woman sitting in front of the TV can't sit still anymore, because she has seen May. June sees her sister May, who has been missing for a long time, and immediately picks up her phone to write down the hospital that is rescuing the injured. She rushes to the hospital to inquire about the condition of the newly admitted patients. However, the hospital tells her that those people have already been discharged. How is this possible? They were all shown on TV with broken arms and legs. How could they be discharged so quickly? But the hospital is unwilling to reveal more clues. June sees a doctor leaving and passing by a man in a suit, which immediately arouses her suspicion. She follows the man in the suit outside the hospital. The man in the suit doesn't seem surprised, turns around, and hands June a yellow note. In the evening, June goes to the address on the note and comes to a tunnel where she sees the bus. A mysterious small town has appeared in Japan, where they take care of food, drink, and even partners. Even someone like Peter has found a girlfriend like May. The bus is heading to the small town, and there are so many people waiting in a long line. Before getting on the bus, the person in yellow hands June an agreement. To enter the small town, one must give up everything they currently have, including their name and household registration. For her sister, June has no other choice. June is also implanted with a chip and, after entering the small town, she inquires about her sister's whereabouts everywhere. A few days later, in a restaurant, May sees her sister and directly throws a card at the man across from her. The man is overjoyed and quickly makes room. The sisters begin to talk. It turns out that when May came here, she was with her daughter. June hopes that May will leave with her child, but May is full of disdain and unwilling to leave. Before coming to the small town, May, with her daughter Phoebe, had gone to her sister for help, hoping that her sister could take them in. But June was also going through a family crisis at the time, and couldn't help her sister. June also feels guilty about this. June asks about Phoebe's situation, but May is clueless. The next day, May asks Ty if June is the type of woman he likes, encouraging Ty to pluck up the courage to chat her up. Ty, with his handsome appearance, successfully strikes up a conversation. Ty takes June to the town's kindergarten. This kindergarten is terrifying. Every child is tied to a rope, with an activity radius not exceeding 3 meters. The teacher brings the food bowls and casually throws them on the ground, as if feeding pigs. June immediately recognizes Phoebe. Seeing this scene, June decides to take the child and escape. Ty has also had enough of the town. He doesn't like this kind of life. The two agree to run away together. June finds May and shares this idea, but her sister directly confronts her. How are they supposed to live after leaving here? They don't even have a household registration. June is left speechless. That night, Ty and June activate the fire alarm. The person in yellow hears the sound and immediately comes out to check. Ty sneaks into the office and rummages through, finally finding the shield in a drawer. Then, they find Phoebe in the kindergarten, climb over the fence, and successfully escape. Sure enough, as long as the shield is in hand, the chip will not make a sound. They can't find the direction to the city, and can only walk aimlessly forward. This town assigns food and partners, but it uses people's lives to test drugs. Ty and June have escaped from here. The sky gradually lightens up, and both of them are somewhat physically weakened. The power of the shield is also exhausted, and a sharp howling sound comes. Their heads feel as if they are about to explode. Just as they don't know what to do, the sound suddenly disappears. What's going on? The two of them look up and see an administrator standing in front of them, smugly shaking the shield in his hand. The administrator takes them into the car, preparing to send them back to the town to receive punishment, and mocks Ty as a waste of society. Ty gets angry, kicking the administrator out of the car. They escape in the car. This time, they successfully return to the city. However, without household registration, let alone finding a job, they can't even find a place to live. The car becomes their home. These two people have no survival skills, relying on stealing for food. Neither of them ever thought that life would turn out like this. But soon, June becomes pregnant. When she goes to the hospital for a checkup, She encounters the big manager. Tai is furious. If it weren't for him, he wouldn't have ended up in this situation. Tai, brandishing his fists, lunges forward, but is easily subdued by the big manager. The big manager doesn't plan to take him back. He hands over a piece of paper once again, which contains information about another town. As long as Tai is willing, they can live a life without worries about food and clothing. Tai throws away the note. He will not go back there. Later, June's belly has become very big, and Tai has a decent job. On their table are 2 shields that are charging. Here, a new administrator arrives at the town, and it turns out to be Tai. It seems he can't leave the town anyway. The end. The film is called The Town of Headcounts. This film is worth watching. I recommend seeing the original. That's all for this episode. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you next time. Bye.